Hello everyone, welcome to our second AMA session.
Hello. Hi,
My
I'm
name
new
is
here.
Jochem. Thomas is new.
Yeah.
He manages all our AMAs and is joining today as a co-host.
Yeah, welcome everyone. And today we're having a slightly new, well, everything is new with AMAs. It's pretty much the second one that's being streamed live. But this time we're having a guest from a non-AMA time-friendly time zone. And it's Mayur Madnani. So Mayur has been with the community for a while now. He joined during the Udacity AWS Machine Learning Scholarship Program 2 years ago and stayed around and raced with us and qualified for the finals. And he volunteered to run one of the sessions with you. So the way it's going to work today is we're obviously running a live race with you. But also what we're going to do is we're going to replay his answers to the questions that you've submitted. Thank you for those. We've got quite a few, and I don't think we've managed to put them all in today. But we will then try to just assemble a video with questions and answers to share with you afterwards.
So let's move to an introduction.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome everybody to the AMA session. I am Mayur Madnani. So a little bit about me. I had received the Udacity scholarship in 2019. From that time, I have been racing with DeepRacer and part of the community. I'll be a host today and answering most of your AMA questions. Let's get started.
So that was Mayur. And Thomas, we're also racing today, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, I'm starting. Well, we've got quite a few racers that already registered, more than we will squeeze into an hour, but we'll do our best. Yeah, so how about we just open the race? I don't think, should we wait for anyone more to just submit their model if they wish to? Or
Yeah, let's open the door for a bit to see if anyone still wants to join.
okay, we're currently got. Actually, you know what? We're going to just probably start because I can see we've got 5, 10, 15. We've got 17 racers already, so probably let's just start because we won't be able to play all of them during the stream anyway. And I'll just close the entries. And let me just start the race.
Our first racer is going to be Lighting Flash. Yeah,
Yes.
what's going to happen is when Thomas starts the race, a user interface is shown where you can control the car. So if you're around and you know you're up, make sure you're in the console, then you can control your car. What's going to happen is a video stream will be loaded, which is happening now. And we will see Lightning Flash race in real time from the United States.
Yeah, so what's happening right now is not like a regular virtual race that you're following in the DeepRacer League. This one is, the way it works is the racers are able to, first of all, you can see it as the car is going, which is one novelty over here. And the second one is that the racer is able to modify their speed while racing. And it can help, or it can just cause trouble if they do too much of it. Or they can just leave it as it is, and then the car will just try to complete a lap anyway. So Lightning Flash is off now. The model is relatively slow but stable, probably based on the following of the center line. Yeah, probably that, because it's doing it pretty nicely. It's clinging to that line as much as it can. So most of the models that are trained with the default function stay somewhere around the central line, because the sample reward function that you have in the training console, it divides the track into kind of sections. So depending on, it's like 3 types of closeness from the central line, and if the car is very close, then it gets the highest reward. Slightly further, it's like slightly lower, and then the further out, slightly lower. So it's not like changing based on the distance from the center. It's more like, it's in this area. So the car can be somewhere in the whereabouts of the central line and kind of zigzag around it sometimes as well. But yeah, I think it's going pretty well for now.
1 minute 40 to go. In the meantime, shall we move on to the next question from Mayur?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Here he comes.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions. How applicable is the DeepRacer to real projects on the job day to day? What is the industry use case of DeepRacer? What's its importance in real world? Okay, so DeepRacer is RL based, is using RL based technique, which basically rewards certain behaviors in certain environments. So these actions are more, the agent gets habitual to these actions more and more, right? And we have different industry use cases. You have self-driving cars, you have AlphaFold, launched by Google last year, and just recently GitHub had publicly announced the Copilot, which basically codes for you. You just give the function name and it would write the boilerplate code. So these are some interesting approaches you would see, and different products being launched by different companies.
So how is Lighting Flash doing?
It's pretty good. We've gone down to 42 seconds, so there is some improvement in how the car is behaving on track. Obviously, it's not exactly a lightning speed, but that's what you get with those basic models. And that's one of the reasons why we're pretty much selecting those simple and rather short tracks for the live race, is because we want people to be able to submit basic models and see how they behave. It's both fun and a learning experience for everyone. So we will see a whole range of models today. Some of them will be rather slow. Some of them I'm expecting to see quite interesting performance, including the next racer, but let's leave it till then. So Lighting Flash has run out of time, and the time, actually I missed it, that we went down to 40 seconds, 0.335, so well done. I think it's a really good time for a start.
Nice time.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just move on to Julia.
So while this model loads, let's tell something about the top left track image you see. You see the different colors in the in Formula 1, you would call them sectors. And you see that based on the car's performance, they change color. So yellow means you're slower, green means you're faster, and purple means you have the fastest time on that sector so far.
Yeah, so purple means globally best time in a given sector. Green is your personal best in this sector, and yellow is pretty much slower than your personal best. Right, so Julia is one of new racers in the league right now. She has joined through the Udacity scholarship program, and she's really enjoying the racing. And one thing that tells that is that she's still in the top 10 of the open division. A few words about the AWS DeepRacer League. This is a competition that AWS organized where people fight for the glory, bragging rights, and a few fun rewards that you can win. It's divided into two divisions. First of them is the open division where everyone can race. And top 10% of the participants in a given race of the open division qualify into the pro division and join the other pro racers, where the task is usually much harder because it's no longer time trial. It's usually bot racing. So you have cars on the track that you need to deal with. And they fight for qualifiers into the live race. During pretty much like this one that we're seeing. This is the finale race of each month because the races are every month. So the racers, the top 16 of the racers, they take part in the finale, and top 3 of them qualify into the championship, which will take place in Las Vegas during the AWS reInvent conference. So the reward includes flying you over to Las Vegas, giving you a hotel, the conference entry, some pocket money, and obviously participation in the race. So pretty cool, isn't it? Julia is in the top 10 of Open Division right now, and it's a pretty impressive race this month. Usually, Open Division is rather calm. In terms of participation, this month we've got over 2,000 racers already, which is the largest registered race that we've had so far. And well, we're still getting new racers. Right, let's have a quick look at how Julia is doing on the track, and
really well.
Yeah, it's pretty good. 12.544 seconds, best lap time so far. Looking at the car performance, it's first very stable, and low count of resets is very important in here. Second thing is you can see that the car is cutting corners. Well, not exactly corners because it's all curvy, this track, but you know what I mean. It's pretty much not following the central line. Instead, it's trying to follow some sort of optimized line, which allows a few benefits. First,
Okay, we've lost Thomas for a bit. So he was talking about benefits. But let's instead move to a video from Mayur first until he gets back.
When training, which should have the greater focus, the reward function or the hyperparameters? Okay, so I would say initially the reward function. Once you have tuned it very well and you see that you are getting good lap times and completing the track mostly 100%, you are nearly doing 100% completion, that is when you would want to tweak the hyperparameters and reduce that lap times more. So initially keep it to default, train better with the reward functions, come to a certain reward function that you would want to carry, and then tune the hyperparameters. Initially the defaults are good.
Okay, so Julia finished racing. A solid 12.5 seconds. So until Thomas is back, let's move to the next question from Mayur. Because Thomas is our race host today, so he is running the race. So until he's back, let's go back to Mayur.
From what I see is that in offline races, people tend to have a very fast lap time. Does it happen because they can control the speed of the car during the races? Thank you. Okay, now so usually you would see faster lap times in virtual circuits. In physical tracks, we mostly see the DeepRacer going around on reInvent 2018 or 2019 track. So these are very small tracks. You would see slight better results maybe if the model is very well tuned for physical races, and that can happen. But in bigger tracks, you would see mostly that virtual circuits would have better lap times.
He is back.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. My internet said no. Anyway, I managed to start the new racer. It's PM from Philippines. Yeah, it's started right now. So a few words about how the car is looking. You can see that this one is yellow. Racers are able to define or decide which look their cars will get. Some of them will use just different colors of the shells. And what you see right now is a car that pretty much resembles what the real DeepRacer looks like, the Evo version, but just without a LiDAR scanner on top of it. There are also some fun other customizations that we get every month as part of racing, some of them just for participation, some of them for qualifying into the pro division or into the finale. So we might see some of the fun looks during the race today.
You already
PM
saw
has...
one, right? Our first racer had the fancy car.
Ah, that's true. Yeah, I missed that one. At that time we had one of those retro race cars, right? So Julia, PM is doing pretty well. It's 22 seconds right now, so obviously it's not as fast as Julia, but still pretty stable. And the car is doing a little better than what Lighting Flash had. I think the speeds are a bit higher, and the car is a little bit more shaky, which I'm wondering what could be the reward function over here. I think it's still centerline, isn't it?
Looks like it.
Just as I said that, the car just cut the corner. So
exactly.
Well, commentators cuss. Right, we've got 1 minute 22 seconds remaining. The lap race is 20. Actually, let's have wait, because I can see that the first sector has a green color, which means that PM has improved time. Now, second sector is not as fast, but let's have a look at what the third sector brings. Okay, the third sector was also slightly faster than any other before. So we managed to get an improved time of 22 seconds and 0.078. Shall we play another question from Mayur now?
Yes.
Is it possible to control the models using speech? If yes, please tell me how I can implement. Yeah, you should look at the community projects being done. Basically, you are combining two different approaches. One is to detect your speech and give different controls to your car, and then car can move around that way. So look at the community projects, and that should help you.
Okay. PM almost finished racing. 30 seconds left. So is PM in the open or the pro division, or in no division at all?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's quickly check. So the way I normally do it is there is a project called DeepRacer Race Data that Joachim is maintaining. Let me just share the link to it in our chat. Where's the chat? I lost the chat. Here is the chat. There we go. Jarek, what do you mean by saying the video isn't updating? I haven't seen this message before, so I can see it in the chat right now. Anyway, while he's responding, this is the project that I normally use to check on the racers, because it has all the history and time snapshots of the races and the tracks and everything else. So let's quickly see PM. I don't see PM in the... Oh yeah, PM is in the open division right now, in place in spot 348. So yeah, the model is doing pretty well. It might require a bit of, well, it's doing pretty well on this track. I'm not sure if it's the same model that's going in the open division, but yeah, it's doing pretty well. So maybe she'll manage to also improve her time and get into the current, I believe, 232 spots, or one of those 232 spots that will guarantee the place in Pro Division. A small comment on this. If you qualify into the Pro Division, you will also receive a Pro Division welcome pack, which is a bit of a mystery. At least the rules don't say what there is, but from what we've seen, it's a hoodie, a cap, and DeepRacer socks. DeepRacer socks are, it might sound very surprising, but they are quite an important piece of equipment for people who have to do with the, well, have to deal with the physical races on the tracks. The best tracks are usually printed carpets, and the carpets are slippery. So those are non-slip socks that you can use when you get on the track, so that you can run and chase your car if needed. Especially track managers need to do this. If you don't have the good ones, then you might get an injury by slipping or just falling over. Well, you know, if you've got them, you can still fall over, just like David Smith, our primary track manager. He did catch the car. He didn't manage to prevent fall.
David is one of our next AMA guests, right?
That's right. David will be our guest next week. So we will have an actual AWS solutions architect on the AMA live, and you'll be able to ask all sorts of questions. So just be on the lookout for the next announcement of the AMA. Send some interesting and tricky questions. David is the first AWS employee whose job title includes AI devices. So his work is about DeepRacer, about Deep Composer and Deep Lens and Panorama, and also organizing events just like these races. But he also organizes races called DeepRacer Underground, where you can submit your model and see it loaded onto a real car, a physical DeepRacer, and just see how it does around the track. He's also organizing a race called DeepRacer 24, where he plans to just race around the clock to see, just get as many models as possible and see how people's cars are doing around the track. It's more of a, not really a race anymore. It's more about just letting everyone experience what it is like to actually train an autonomous car and put it on the road and see how it's doing. TechCrush is doing so far pretty well while I'm talking. So the time is 34 seconds, 0.526. We still have 55 seconds to complete this lap. So
some time improvement is possible.
Maybe. But while we're waiting, let's wait for the finish of this lap, because it's looking like there's going to be an improvement. Yes, it's 31 seconds, 0.869, and now maybe let's play the next question from Mayur, and we'll see how TechCrush completes the race afterwards.
Reason for DeepRacer default discount hyperparameter is 0.999, which does make sense because it sees through 1,000 steps and it won't be useful at all. Yeah, I think you are right. You don't have a track this big that it can have 1,000 steps usually if you are going at a decent speed. So small tracks you would see roughly around 150 or 200 steps is what you take, and bigger tracks it would go maybe to 300, 400 depending on the speed that you're car is taking. So having a discount factor of 0.999, which is looking forward to 1000 steps, it's just slowing down your training. So you are right on that. You can reduce it and have it close to your needs.
Okay, TechRush has finished racing. 31 seconds or 31.8 second lap. Not bad actually for this track, I think.
This puts him in the third spot, and now we will have Ben URC Alpha from Ghana. Ben has participated in the race last week as well. Let's see how he does on this track. There is a theme that we're kind of following with the tracks so far. So both tracks, both the reInvent 2018 and 2019, are pretty much the only official printed tracks that AWS has had so far. All of the other tracks, they are only available as a virtual version, and there's kind of a reason for that. So reInvent 2018 track is 5 by 8 meters large, and 2019 is 10 by 8 meters. So it's quite a big track. Now, if we look at the tracks that we're using in the Open Division right now, those are about 40 meters long. The Pro Division is 60 meters long. Trying to find space to put such a track, first of all, printing it and putting it somewhere is a bit of a effort. So usually what happens during the physical races, the tracks are rather a bit simpler. It also means that you can train the car for for a shorter amount of time to get a lap done. I think the fastest for the reInvent 2018 wide that I've seen was 2 hours of training to complete a lap under 10 seconds, which was pretty nice.
Speaking about nice, 17.8 seconds, our second time. And I think Ben is using the speed slider because I've seen the car speed up and slow down quite some times already.
Yes, I think so. So hi, Ben. I'm guessing you're listening to us right now. Pretty nice performance. Also, one Easter egg in this race, you can see that Ben's car is a hybrid of a race car and DeepRacer. This is something that we get from time to time as a small glitch during the races. And it's just that two shells just are put on top of each other, and then whatever sticks out of the shape is what you see. Actually, it looks pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We've seen the most crazy combinations already, also during the monthly Twitch finals, I think.
I think the most fun one is the delivery truck from Amazon because it's longer than the car, and because of that, it looks like the car was drifting all the time on the track. While we're watching Ben race, there is a question in the chat from Vinamra Sarin about whether we know anyone who has a physical truck at their home. I have a physical truck at my home. There's a bug over here with a very small truck. It's actually too small for the car to complete the U-turn on it because it's like 2-point-something by 3-point-something meters. So it's really difficult to race on unless I remove springs from the shock absorber so that the car looks lower and does actually see the truck all the time. I know of a few people who own a truck, so for instance, John Mayur, one of the...
I have a track.
Oh, you do have a truck. Oh, you have a truck.
A smaller version of the track we've seen during last week's race. Slightly smaller, adjusted, printed on banner material, which works quite well and is reasonably cost effective.
Yeah, so I've seen two people in the US having a track in the basement. One of them is John Mayur, who used to organize the underground races with David. The second one is Joe Nielsen from, I don't remember, Slalom Consulting, I believe. Joe was one of the finalists in 2019. So when he got a new car, before he did whatever he wanted to do with his basement, he just removed the everything from there and painted a track on the floor. It was pretty cool as well. Okay, while I was talking, Ben completed his race, so 17.801 seconds, pretty nice lap, and this puts him in the second. And let's start the next racer. It's Abhishek Kar.
From India.
Yeah. Jarek, my criteria for my new house: basement big enough for a truck.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Make room for the track.
I know that. Yeah, I know that Lyndon has a truck. It's the 2018 wide, as we used to organize a few events in the past. That said, he doesn't have a room in his house to just put it out. It was only during the events that we were doing this. But we'll see. Maybe I'll manage to borrow it from him and just set it up in front of my house, because while I don't have a room big enough, I might have a parkway that's sufficient. Abhishek Kar has started. The speed is, I think it's faster than the lightning flash, but yeah, it's going pretty stable, pretty nicely, following this central line, more or less. So while we're going, let's just complete this first lap, and maybe we'll replay another question from Mayur and his answer. Okay, so the first lap is 29.192. It's actually faster than TechCrush as well. Pretty nice. Well done. Shall we play the question?
Yes.
When do we use entropy hyperparameter? I increased to explore the action space, but model was like chaos. Yes, that's usually the thing you would see. You would have to train it a lot longer when you are exploring the bigger environment, right? So that gives you a much stable model, because you have explored all the different environment conditions, and that's how you have a stable model. But then, yeah, training takes a hit, so it's a chaos in the beginning, but after a while you should see good results. I'd suggest you can increase it at a slower segment, instead of increasing at, like, going from 0.1 to 0.8. You can take it gradually.
Okay, so I think we have a time improvement, 28.9.
Yes, it's a very slight time improvement, but actually now we have 27.704. So as we were talking, Abhishek Kar managed to improve on all three sectors. Really nice. Yeah, the car is clinging to the central line like there is no tomorrow, so I'm pretty sure this is a central line following model. When you start training the car in DeepRacer, you can pretty much just start with all default using the sample reward function, sample car setup, and sample hyperparameters, which guarantees you to complete a lap relatively quickly on the default tracks like reInvent 2018 on reInvent 2019. And that's usually pretty fun already to begin with. But what you can do then is start playing around. So the reward function has multiple hyperparameters, and you can learn based on many of them. For instance, one of the reward functions that I really like is, I call it the London Racer, so roughly on the left and roughly on the road. If you've been to London, you know what I mean. I usually then reward just going on the left side of the track and just not being off track at the same time. And the car also is able to complete a lap relatively quickly, and it does hold on to this left side of the road.
Almost a time improvement.
Yeah, that was really close. So we've got 4 seconds left, so not enough to complete a lap. But while we're doing this, let's load a new, well, the car has completed now, and I'll just load the new racer. So this is UOA from New Zealand. New Zealand, we haven't had many racers from New Zealand recently.
Oh. There were some people in the league, right? Last year, 2 years ago?
Yes. So there is one person in the Pro Division right now that is fighting for the qualifier into the championships again. It's Tony J. Tony and Matt Camp, they both used to live in London, where we met them during the AWS summit during the London race. Matt finished the race in the first spot there and qualified for the championship. And Tony was in the 3rd position before me racing. Sorry, Tony.
This.
And I jumped. Yeah, that's going fast.
Very fast.
Let's just... And then off track.
But fastest sector.
So this is something, yeah. So Tony finished there in the 4th spot, but they've both been in the community since, and you can chat with them in our Slack as well. Yeah, I think the 2nd sector, this is going pretty solid, isn't it? I think we're going to see some improvement still. So this is 12.919 seconds, so just behind Julia, and another reset. This is something that you need to do, actually. You need to calculate your risk when you're racing. If you go for a very stable model and you don't have a limit on how many resets you can have, then obviously you will have 0 resets, which is nice. But you will probably be too slow to win, and you just need to weigh your risks. So in the last month when I was racing, I had a model that seemed to be have the potential to behave nicely, but it wasn't very stable. And after the first round of the finale, I was 2nd from the end, 14th. But I decided to stick to the same model still, and it managed to put me into the 3rd spot in the end. So I just needed one clean lap over there. The model was doing relatively well, but yeah, I just needed one clean lap to just nail it, and I managed to get that and jump into 3rd. So I think we've improved to 12.724 right now, which is still slightly before. It's 0.18 seconds behind Julia. We'll see if we can improve. There's still a lot of time.
There's of course also the effect of passing the starting line, because if you go off track once, well, then you're slower. But if you move over the finish line before starting a new lap, you have like your out lap that gives you a chance of a faster time during the next lap.
Yeah.
And
we've got purple.
This is going to be it. Or not?
Is it? I think so. Yeah. Yes. So it's 0.0004 seconds. How does that feel?
Oh, it's actually a winning time.
Yes, it is. It's by 0.004. That's just mad. Let's just see how UOA does for the rest of their run, and then we can just play another question from Mayur.
Can this model improve even more?
Not in this lap, I'm afraid. It's just 2 yellows, but there's still time for one final flying lap. and there's a reset over here. So resets are a bit more forgiving here than in the finale, because here the resets are set to 1 second, and in the finale it's usually 3 or 5 seconds depending on the race. If you get a reset over there, then it might be a matter of finishing in the top 10 or not, with 5 seconds difference. Last month, I believe the top 16 qualifiers had, at least in the qualifying race, they had less than 5 seconds difference in the time on 3 laps. So it was really, really close. Now the next racer is the SSC Tuatara.
I've also seen this racer last week.
I hope I got this right. Yes, that's true. And let's see how they do this time.
While this racer is loading, let's move to the next question from Mayur first. When training one's DeepRacer model, especially for time trial race, how can the model be trained using reward function to speed up on straight and slow down on approaching curve? Yeah, so you would want to look at waypoints. With waypoints, you can identify the future waypoints which are yet to come and see if it's a straight line or there's a curve coming. Accordingly, you can decide in your reward function. So at current step, you can see the future points and accordingly take the decision. That way you can control the speed and give rewards based on what is the current speed, right?
Okay, first lap still, I think. 15.3 seconds.
That's not bad
Quite
at all.
nice
It's a third time right now. Exactly. So while we're watching SSS Tuatara, there's a question in the YouTube chat. So, all right. Is reset like a penalty? Yes, it is. So that's your car just stops and there's a penalty time attached to it. I believe there are also some mechanisms in place in the live race where there can be a limit of how many resets there are. And they can add some interesting effects to what we see in the races. But let's wait for the next lap because it looks like it will be, yes, it is an improvement, 3 green sectors, and it's 13.998, really nice time. So yeah, you can have a limit of how many resets are allowed. And if the racer just keeps resetting all the time, it might just be that they won't finish a lap even. This means then that stability also comes into play and people will be less willing to risk it with unstable but potentially insanely fast models. Okay, this one will be slightly slower. There are 2 yellow sectors and the third one is also yellow. So yeah, no improvement on this one, but we still have 90 seconds left. But the first sector is green. Second sector is purple. We've got a purple, so this might be... No, there's a reset.
You jinxed it.
Sorry. Commentator's curse. But it's still 13.867, so if it wasn't for that, then likely it would be closer to 12.867. I wonder if SSC Tuatara is here with us and trying to play on that slider or not. That would be interesting. So we've got a flying start on this one and another reset. So there's still plenty of time to do at least like 2 laps for sure, maybe even 3. We'll see how he does.
He's definitely controlling the slider, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that we can see the effect of it in the lost stability. So the slider is like a speed multiplier, and it can work both ways. If you got a lot of straight lines and the car is really good at following the straight line, then you might have really nice time improvements. But if there are curves all along the way, like in this track, you might not be able to just give it enough boost. And the car is really trained to behave based on the speeds that it can take. If it thinks that it can do turn at like 1 meter per second, and you multiply the speed by 1.5, then it will do 1.5 meters per second. But wait a second, will we have an improvement? Please don't go off track. 13.207. I think the slider went down in the third sector this time to make it careful. But we still have 13.207, which is third time, and it's really nice one.
Time.
So yeah, well done, well done. And yeah, so going back to the answer on the straight and speed control, if you got a lot of straights, you can try to use a slider to improve. If there's a lot of turning, then you risk getting the car to lose contact with the ground, because there is a concept of friction in the simulation. But yeah, that's really nice. So next racer is Racer Dwani from India. And I think SSC Tuatara is Vinamra Sarin, who we've got in the stream right now. He said he had some problems with controlling the stream. Yeah, so this is something that everyone is experiencing. Also in the finale races, sometimes you can get a problem with the connection, or sometimes some scripts get in the way. Also, the whole stack is running in North Virginia, so if you're somewhere else around the world, it might be that you will just struggle to get lower latency over here. That's why it's best to have a model that just does well, regardless of the control. You can just leave it at 1 and enjoy its performance. We've got racers that actually follow this rule in the finales, and they've been in every single finale right now. I think it's Ernesto and Duckworth that do that.
Yeah.
And Racer Dwani has opened up with a nice lap of 21.124 seconds. It's currently a 5th time, but a lot of tracks involved. So I wonder if it's just trying the luck with the slider, or just the model trained, for instance, on a different track. I think it's a slider, to be honest.
Like the slider. So did you use the slider during your monthly Twitch final?
I did. I did use a slider in a few places. So slider is can help you recover from a case where you keep hitting a box, for instance. Sometimes it's better to slow down to give the time for the car to react to what's going on around you. And sometimes it's also good to just speed up and hope that the car doesn't turn to right straight into a box, for instance. But my secret, okay, I'm going to tell my secret. In the last straight on the last month track, I just waited for a moment that the car stopped turning. And it's a tricky one, because there was a very mild curve followed by a bit of a straight. So I waited for the curve to end so that my car wasn't turning anymore. And then I just pushed it all the way. And that's probably what helped me just jump into the 3rd spot on that lap.
It sounds like a familiar approach. I did the same thing when I won on my Twitch final. It's really, really helpful, but it helps the most on the straights, because in the corners it can be a bit dangerous. The car can start slipping.
That is true. Also, I'm kind of trying to work out what action space could be the best to just get the most out of a model, and this is something that I'm really exploring. This is not something that you can really do in the console, but there are tools like training you can train in SageMaker, or you can set up local training stack. This is a community project that we're just maintaining and evolving. You can set up a training in either in the cloud on an EC2 instance or on your local computer, and then you have access to those files that are configuring the car also in the console, but you just don't see them over there. And because of that, you can set a more custom action space and see how it does.
It gives you more flexibility.
Yeah, That is true. It gives you more flexibility, but it's also easy to get it wrong when you edit the file. So Racer Madnani completed with a time of 21.124 and a total of 54 resets. I think this is the race high so far. Going back to the complication and potential of the action space, I don't remember. I think it was Tony, one of the New Zealand racers that we've mentioned in the past, that had problems getting around the track really quickly, and he was using the local training. So after a few days of training, he realized that he made a mistake in his action space file, commented out some lines without being aware of that, and he had only 2 actions in his action space, which was turning left, turning right at some mild angle, and it was enough to complete a lap anyway. So the next racer is Sarthak. Sarthak is going very cautiously around the track right now.
It stays on track.
I am suspecting this is, but it stays on track and follows the central line. So I'm suspecting it's a standard reward function and standard action space, the default one. So yeah, let's have a look at the first lap before we move on to playing maybe last question from Mayur. We're running out of time, so we won't be able to play all of those questions, but we will do our best to just compile them into a video and share it with you so that you can just listen to his answers. So the first lap time is 40.559, which is currently the 10th time of the race. So yeah, I'm not sure how you're with time, Joachim, but maybe what we can do is just try to raise more people and have a chat, but let's just finish off the questions for AMA with this one, and then we will just finish off with the goodbye video from Mayur and just see the rest of the racers.
Absolutely.
Were there any episodes of burnout? How were they handled? Yeah, usually so when you take so much time to train, and that can give burnout. Usually what I do is I train for 2 hours, 3 hours, see the performance using log analysis, and then accordingly decide do I want to continue with it or scrap and start from scratch again. So that reduces a bit, but if you train for longer, that can cause burnouts and maybe your model doesn't work as you expect.
Okay, so we have a time improvement, 39.1 seconds. Still not, is it a 10th time, I think?
Nope, it's 9th. It's gone just in front of Lightning Flash. But I think we will have another improvement. It will not be enough to get into the 8th position just yet, but yes, it's 38.598. With models like that, if Sarthak was around, he would be able to try to just, use the slider to improve the speeds a little bit. The default car has, I believe, the maximum speed of 1 meter per second, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
So this is the max speed is very conservative on that one, and there are also 2 lower speeds, like 1/3 of a meter and 2/3 of a meter. So it would probably deal pretty well with just boosting the speed.
And for the fastest time, you definitely need the 4 meter per second speed in your action space.
We have a question in the YouTube chat. What is the best action space and hyperparameters for head-to-head and object avoidance? This is a great question, actually, because when you do the time trial, you're really up for those fastest speeds that can get you around the track and nothing more. When you're racing with the bots or object avoidance, it gets much trickier, because if you remove the slower actions, This means that you might not be able to react to some action from a bot or just to a box that's in front of you. And sometimes you just need to be able to slow down rapidly and just go around the box. And another question from Krishna is whether he can share a model to race. I can let you enter the race later after we finish the racers that are currently on, but this will be probably already outside of the stream because we are just over time already, and we would like to show all of the racers that have submitted so far.
But we will run all racers currently in the queue, right? Maybe not on the stream, but we will definitely run them.
Yeah, so if you can, I'm not sure how you're with time, but for now I think I have a little bit time left, so then you can just switch over to just showing me and I can just stream the rest of the racers.
I have plenty of
live.
time left.
Okay, so I think we can play those racers as well. Yeah, in that case, maybe we could also just play more questions from Mayur, or more answers from Mayur as well. Let's stretch it a little bit. Let's go crazy today. Okay, and yeah, we haven't mentioned that Madnani has just joined, well, started racing now, and is doing pretty nicely. So it's 28.463. Yeah, 28.463 is 8th time right now, so not bad. Madnani has been here last week as well, and yeah, I remember that name. I remember that race. Let's see how he's doing in the open division. So the time is it's 106th time that he has over there. Not bad at all. Yeah. Oh, there are a few resets over here. I wonder if he's with us today and trying to race. Probably no, because it's quite late in Mongolia, I suspect. I don't know, what time zone would that be?
Late.
Yeah.
Probably, well, actually, let's look it up.
And in the meantime, Benedict asks, when do you go for PPO and when do you go for SAC? So the question is about the training algorithms used in the DeepRacer training stack. One of them is PPO, which is, I believe it's proximal policy optimization, right? And the second one is SAC, is soft actor critic. So my answer to this question is very simple.
PPO.
I always go for PPO and I never go for SAC. The reason for that is that I don't have much experience with machine learning. SAC seems to be rather tricky to just wrap your head around and get good models out of, and I already know how to use PPO. Also, there is a small print to it, because many people ask me about my experience in machine learning. My machine learning experience is none. I don't work in it, and but why I am doing the DeepRacer, I'm doing it because it's fun, because I've actually learned a lot and gained a lot of awareness around machine learning and what it can be used for. And while I haven't built the professional skills over here, I think it's just made me a better developer, engineer, and everything else. But there's also the second thing over here. So the community. I am a community-centered person. I like the sense of belonging, being useful, helping people, and just celebrating and enjoying time with them. And you get all of that in our community. So that's something that really makes me stick to it all the time. Nomad May has finished in the 8th spot with the time of 27.964 seconds, just 2.6 seconds, sorry, just a quarter of a second behind Abhishek Kar, so not bad at all, well done. And the next racer is Lembo from India.
So speaking about time, it's also quite late in India. In Mongolia, it's currently 2 a.m. in the morning. India, it's
yeah, I would imagine India to have more than one time zone, isn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah, so probably around 1 a.m., 3 a.m.
But we still have some people from India watching the stream, so hello, and make sure you get enough sleep before whatever you plan to do tomorrow. I always repeat that sleep is one of the most important factors of DeepRacer.
Is it?
Yeah, if you don't sleep enough, you don't improve. Also, quite often, if you don't use the slider in the live race, the car does better than when you do. So it's better to go to bed when the race is on.
It depends on your model. I'm pretty sure my model wouldn't have won if I wouldn't have used the slider.
Yeah, that's true. When you qualified for the championship. So small print over here, both me and Johan qualified for the championships in Vegas. So if you manage to get into the reInvent conference this year, we will meet there. And I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so Johan was around during his races, and he managed to win, and after that he didn't show up at the next race. He just decided to sleep over it. But yeah, I've been around because I'm also writing some commentary. Also, I've been racing at the same time, so I've been just up in the middle of the night racing and writing a blog post, an article, or an article with the update from the races at the same time. Lembo is doing pretty stable, so it seemed I thought it would be a bit slower, but it's 31.927 is not a bad time at all. I think right now it's enough for the 9th spot, but just behind Tech Rush, who has the best time of 31.869.
Going to be a small time improvement, I think, but not enough. In the meantime, let's go to the next video from Mayur.
It's actually been enough. It's 9th spot right now for Lembo, and let's play the video.
How do you train the model for unseen circumstances when the model is not behaving as expected even after sufficient training? Yes, so this happens initially, and what you would like to do is do the log analysis, see at which point is it breaking. Right, mostly it might be some curve which it is not able to take, so you'd like to change your reward function, tweak it in a way that it crosses that, and that's how you go ahead.
So no time improvement for Lembo in the meantime. It's actually quite stable model, only one reset.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, so time's out for Lembo, and now Elika is the next racer. Yeah, Elika is also the person who joined the community through the Udacity scholarship program, a very enthusiastic fellow. We actually chat quite a lot, as he's quite determined to learn how to do well in DeepRacer. And what we managed to do is last weekend he managed to set up his first EC2 instance, which is like, if you don't know what it is, it's a server that you can set up in Amazon to just do your words are just failing me right now. Sorry.
Everything. Right?
Yeah, it's in a server that you can just demand, and it just starts up. You can connect to it and do stuff with it. So he managed to set it up, connect to it. For the first time, he used the SSH connection, so it's like a secure encrypted connection to the server to control it through a command line. Then set up all of the projects, set up all the training, and start training his new car with it. So pretty impressive thing, and a lot of learning.
Also impressive.
No.
The current lap time, 19.1 seconds.
Yes, maybe he will not be very upset if I say that after his last week's performance, where he was last, he said it was a very humiliating thing for him because he's never been last at anything. And I just told him, come down, it's a learning experience, and you'll get this. And you can see that now he's got 17.948 seconds.
16.7.
And yeah.
So fourth place.
This is,
so no loss.
Yes, that's a lot of improvement this week. Well done. Well done. Okay, so 2 questions in the chat. So first of all, hello, Nadui Pam Viet. Sorry, I might have gotten it wrong. I'm average with languages and pronunciation. So I'm guessing this is not Madme, who's joined us and is in the chat. Then the second question is, or maybe first, Krishna Kumar. So he said he shared a model with me in Slack. Krishna, if you go to the announcement in the general channel, there's an invitation link to join this race. And then after everyone's gone, I will reopen submission of models so that you can submit a model and race then. Okay, so we'll just sort it out afterwards. And the question from Vinamra is, who is JJ? So JJ, who is JJ, right, Joachim?
The winner.
JJ is a great guy, yes. So I've been mentioning this week I wrote a small blog post saying about the Open Division race being the one that is like the largest race that we've got recorded from the public races available. So the previously largest race was the Toronto Turnpike one from October 2019, where JJ was, I think it was his 4th race in general in the DeepRacer League then. And I remember it very particularly because he took part in the virtual race, and he was the first person to, while he was leading all the time, he was the first person to just lose to the students from NCTU at the time, NYCU University right now. And that got him, like, pretty much just voided his chances to qualify into the championships. But also he took part in the physical race during the Toronto Summit. And James lost his first spot over there as well after the last run of the day by Mohammed from, I don't remember the name of the company, My Planet? No, I don't remember. I'm not going to make it up. But yeah, so he almost made it twice and hasn't managed to actually qualify into the finals then. And since then, I think he took part in about 60 races, and only 3 times he's not been on the podium. So yeah, James is very determined, very talented, and very smart fellow. And he's just doing it really well and optimizing every single month.
He still manages to keep ahead of the crowd, right? Sometimes he's 2 seconds faster than the fastest person in the field.
Yeah, for a while he's been, so just a quick summary of what happened. So Elika finished with 16.008 seconds. This is a 4th time, a really nice time, so well done. And the next racer is Carvalho from Brazil. So yeah, let's see how they are doing. But there was a time in the league this year and also last year that pretty much James was just racing against himself. and trying to beat the difficult goals. So, for instance, in the first months of this year's season, it was pretty much difficult to get under 1 minute in terms of time, and I think he's the first person that managed to do that. And while we're talking about it, Carvalho has managed to clock first 13 point something, I don't remember, haven't read the whole time. And now we've got 12.334, so we've got a new leader. Well done.
Really
well done indeed. Yeah. So I think we've got Carvalho with us, and because it looks like the slider is in motion and speed is going slightly too high every now and then. Still, the car is doing pretty okay, I'd say. It's all over the track from what I can see, sometimes cutting the corners, sometimes just going wide. But staying on the track enough times to just get a nice lap. And, well, that's how it works. You need one good lap.
I think now the speed of the slider may be too high every now and then. Oh, purple sector.
Yeah. So, and green in the third, so really nice. Okay, green in the first sector. Yellow in the second, but it was purple just moments ago. And green in the third sector, and 12.17 speed improvement.
12.1.
So yeah, I think the second sector was kind of misleading because just in the previous lap, he improved time over there. So there's a risk over here, so this lap will not be faster, but there's still some potential in this model. Not bad.
So is this a racer in the Pro League or the Open Division?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Let's take a look.
It's Open Division, and it's the second racer right now in the standings.
So he is going to be a pro next month.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I already qualified.
Yeah.
Just lets you sleep at night, doesn't it? So here's the thing. It's like, what happens if you don't qualify? It's like, well, I had fun. I did relatively well. I'm happy with myself. But then get into, let's say, 10th spot and start struggling to improve and start losing your position, and suddenly everything you can think about is about someone's going to just kick me out of here. I'm just going to lose my spot, and I don't know how I'm going to make it. And then you just keep pushing, even though you told yourself that you would just give up, or not really give up, just relax right now because you're happy with your time. So last month I had something like this. And I thought, okay, I think I'm fast enough to qualify. And I still had to improve by, I think, 10 seconds to actually qualify in that race. It was just mad. Carvalho is running out of time. And the time of 12.170 is, yeah, that's the leading time right now. So well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and before I run the next racer, do we have any more questions to play from Mayur?
I think we're out of questions. We only have the final words from Mayur. So let's play them.
Okay, thank you guys for all your questions. It has been great connecting with you, all of you. If there are any questions I missed out, so please reach out on Slack and we'll try to answer as soon as possible. Yeah, thank you for connecting. Bye.
Hey, thank you, Mayur.
Yeah, and let me just start new racer right now. And well, it's not exactly new racer, to be honest. So JPMC Team 1, I think it's Buenos Aires. Yes, so he has qualified into the Pro Division last month. Well, not last month, in June. And in July, he's been in the finale, with a really, really good time. I don't remember how they did in the end. Let me just quickly check that. Oh yeah, they won.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, I now
then.
remember. Sorry, it's yes, probably
and it is. Yeah, purple.
Yes, that's fast.
Purple.
Purple. This is how we roll, kids.
9.9
this is how we roll.
Crazy.
Yeah. So if you figure out how to race, then it's all like this. And like
9.2.
9.282. Okay. This will gonna be slower. That's a very slow lap.
Yeah. 9.5.
It's disappointing.
So we're expecting time below 9, right? 8 point something.
We'll see. We'll see. So let them clock. So imagine this. If, like, let's say the worst lap is at 10 seconds over here, and having 3 minutes, we're talking about 18 laps over here. If it's stable enough, it looks like it's stable enough. So let him go. Let him go. But I'm just going to say how the finals looked for JPMC T1 Buenos Aires. They weren't able to finish the lap in the first round, so they were lost. And he had to go into a meeting, I believe, so some colleague was using the slider in the second round for him. And, well, you know, the rest is history. Jumped into first spot from the 16th, held on to it, and qualified into the championships. I think it's the third or fourth racer from JPMC that did this. So yeah, they have some strong representation over here.
8.7.
And while we were talking about this, yes, 8.746. This is just insane. And we've got a reset.
I wonder, can we go even faster? And there's still 1 minute 20 seconds on the clock. I think they're taking risks now with the slider. Starting to look more or less stable.
Yeah, but still a purple sector again. The second sector is pretty much the simplest one in this track, so I'm not really surprised that we have a lot of improvements on this one. It's most forgiving for the slider being pushed too far. You can see around the turns how sometimes the car starts to skid a little bit.
We haven't seen a purple sector for a while now.
Yeah. Krishna, I will reach out to you in direct message after we're done with this, and then you'll have your opportunity to just submit the model, but it won't be during the stream anymore, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, I think, okay, purple, yellow.
No. But an amazing time.
Just shot, yes.
More than 3 seconds faster than the fastest time we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's just insane. Okay, the next racer is Tibnot. Tibnot from Senegal. I think we've had someone from Senegal last week. No, I think we only.
I don't think so.
I don't remember. So the nice thing about the Udacity scholarship program is that we've suddenly got people from all over the world join the community. We had a bit of a ambition, let's say, to just turn it into a more general machine learning community for a while now, as a like learning one where we just support each other while learning, but it was still mainly focused on DeepRacer most of the time. So this is kind of an opportunity for us to do this right now. But yeah, I think it's really impressive how people are really curious and determined, and they just keep coming back and helping each other and answering all the questions. This is something we've had in the community for a long time, but now it's just happening at a scale. So before the scholarship got announced, we just managed to reach 5,000 registrations in the Slack and celebrated that. And then we had 32,000 more people join. It's 32.5 at this moment. And still people are joining every single day. So this is really, really incredible. It's actually a miracle that it's all holding together right now and in one place, and it's not a total mayhem and chaos, and things get under control very quickly. But it's all thanks to you, the new members. So thank you very much for that. I'm really enjoying every second I'm spending with you in the community.
So tip not, 23 seconds. Not enough for a top 8 spot.
0.065. Yeah, but still not bad.
Stable.
This will be, yes, it is stable, and it will be top 10. So not bad at all.
Start steering a bit late into the corners.
I think it might be a sign of a slider in motion. So this is kind of something that I mentioned. It's if you train on lower speeds, the car learns to react with a certain speed. If you've got if you've got a fast action space, the car needs to anticipate things happening further ahead and needs to start, for instance, turning earlier. If you're going on a very low speed, then you can really react at the last moment. So if you then just put the slider up, you can suddenly see that the car is starting to turn too late, or it might just get too close to the edge of the track and then not know what to do in such situation and just go straight out of the track, for instance. So it's not just losing contact with the from the tire between the tires and the road. It's also that's getting complicated.
The question is, will we see a time improvement? I think it has to happen during the next lap. It's the last chance, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the last chance now, so we'll see. Hopefully there will be no resets this time. And right, so this is still not the fastest sector 1, but this doesn't mean anything just yet. Not the fastest sector 2, so it's getting more difficult right now. We'll see what happens now.
Yeah, it did improve.
And
small improvement.
It did improve,
I think.
Yeah. Well done. So 23.065. This is the 10th time of the day right now. And let's see, the last racer to stream online is Racer1313 from United States.
This racer was also there during last week's AMA.
I believe he's in the open division right now.
Yeah, spot.
22nd spot, so pretty sure of getting into the pro division next month. That's a fast start. So the first lap will usually be green in all sectors because you can't go slower if you haven't completed a sector before. it can sometimes be purple. This means that it's a really fast model as well. But yeah, for now it's all greens, and let's see what happens now. So this one is, the sector 1 is slightly slower, sector 2 slower, and a reset, and another. But it's still a 16.663, so not that bad. Right now, this is a 7th time.
And now it's a 4th time.
I
think 5th time.
It's a 4th time. 5th time. Not bad. Not bad at all. So there is a comment in the YouTube chat. Hadn't heard about DeepRacer before Udacity. This could interest a great deal more people with even more public outreach. I think you're totally right. So what's happening this year already is there are programs happening at universities that just cooperate with DeepRacer. Schools are chatting about how this could be used as part of the curriculum as well. Companies are organizing events. So, for instance, the Development Bank of Singapore, DBS, we've got Robin Castro and Ray G and a few more racers from that company. They organize a race for over, I don't remember whether it was 3 or 30,000 employees as part of their machine learning immersion program. So it was like, really large scale and really impressive. There are many more companies like this. JPMC are using DeepRacer as part of their entertainment/education. There are, who else was there? I remember Morningstar organized races as well. And there are people like Chris Miller, another AWS hero, who has his own track, and he has contacts at schools, and is also talking about how it could be used, sharing it. He actually tries to make DeepRacer available to everyone. So that he has a track, so if people want to come over and try and race at his office, they can every now and then. He organizes meetups as well. So yeah, DeepRacer is something that can help people get together. And while I was chatting, Racer 1313 managed to go down to 11.74 seconds, which is a 2nd time right now.
Yeah, really well done. I think there's one more chance of improving. Small chance. And this is it.
Yeah, so I think we're done for now. So after Racer 1313 runs out of time, which happened just now, I think it's time to bid farewell, and thank you for your time. Krishna, as I said, I'm going to reach out to you in Slack, and we'll just run your model as well, but not on the stream anymore.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and see you during the next AMA.
And yeah, be sure to just join the Slack if you haven't yet, and be on the lookout for the announcements in the general channel. You will have an opportunity to submit questions for the AWS employee, David Smith. And, well, think about some tricky ones. He likes them.
See you.
See ya.